Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by junior on the Iona women's lacrosse team, Maliya Haddock. In her lacrosse career so far, Maliya has played in 30 games and has scored 44 goals and has 17 ground balls. This allowed Maliya to be All-MAAC Rookie Team selection during her freshman year. We're so excited to have her on the podcast. It's a huge honor to have her on. So, welcome to the Draw Control podcast, Maliya, and how is everything going?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Everything's going well. Junior year, it feels surreal. I can't believe I'm officially an upperclassman again. But I'm super excited for the year and I just can't wait to get right to it.
Yeah, how is fall ball going for yourself and for your team so far this semester?
Fall ball's going well. We actually just finished our games. I think we had about 8 games this fall. They went well, looking promising for this season. Yeah, everything's going well.
Yeah. And obviously you mentioned that you're an upperclassman, so what's it been like to be in a more leadership type of role, and how have the new players sort of meshed in with the, I guess, returning players on your team?
Yeah, everyone meshes very well on my team. I think my team at Iona is maybe one of the only teams I've been a part of that's so like close knit. So it was just we knew that everyone was gonna mesh very well, but I think being an upperclassman, it's now everyone's really looking at your every move. Like you have to really lead by example, by voice, by everything. So um I really enjoy being an example for the younger girls. I think it makes me work harder and I love being an upperclassman. I think it's awesome.
Now, what are some things that you've been working on this summer and in the fall to get ready for the upcoming season?
Yeah, in the fall, we're just working on like our first step. I think that's something I've always tried to work on myself. Like how fast you can explode off the line, for those 8 meters, just getting faster in any way possible, any way, shape, and form. With our dodging too, we're really focusing on that this year. But yeah, that's something we've been working on a lot.
Now, speaking of the summer, how was your summer? Did you do anything interesting, whether it was lacrosse related or not, during the off season?
Yeah, so my off season is pretty busy. I would say it's very work filled. I work full time in the summer. I'm a bartender, so that took up a lot of my summer. And then I did vacation. I went to the Bahamas and Miami with my friends. And as for lacrosse wise, I'm involved in a pickup league, so just whenever I can, we're always getting active doing that. Hitting the wall as much as I can, going to the turf with whoever wants to go with me, just making sure I get active in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to visit Miami one day, but I don't like humidity whatsoever. So I'd have to go like during the winter time where it's like the
Yeah,
least amount of humid.
yeah, I didn't enjoy the intense amount of heat, but it was fun for a short amount of time.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Hopefully you did a lot of indoor stuff to make it seem a little bit cooler, if that makes sense.
We didn't, but
Well, it is what it is. Well, I'm glad you had fun at least. That sounds like a really fun summer, especially bartending as well. I feel like you probably learn a lot of good social skills doing that.
definitely got to have a smile on at all times.
Oh yeah. It's something, only thing, every time I think of a bartender, I think of the show Bar Rescue, where like the
Yeah.
guy walks in, it's like, we gotta shut this place down. And they,
Yeah.
so I thought always, that's what, every time I think of bars, I just think of John Taffer and Bar Rescue.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear. One of those people coming in and my hair's down or something, or I'm just making a drink wrong, just someone yelling at me.
Yeah, telling you to shut the place down.
Yeah.
Like it's all on TV for everyone to see.
hmm
Yeah,
There.
no. Luckily, I don't think that will ever happen because I think you have to like, I think they tell you if they're recording you, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, good.
Well, let's transition now and sort of start talking about the beginning of your lacrosse career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today.
Yeah.
So, from the research I did on yourself, it says that you're from South Windsor, Connecticut. Talk about growing up there and how did you start playing lacrosse?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was in fourth grade. My family was like very heavily involved with sports. My dad was a baseball player, my mom was a volleyball player, so it was just bound for me to play a sport. My brothers played baseball too. So we just were a very like athletic family, I would say. But lacrosse was not very big in South Windsor at all, and I did not want to play like in the slightest. I was a die-hard soccer girl. I thought I was going to be like the next like I don't even know, the next like professional soccer girl. And then my mom one day she just was like, I want you to play lacrosse. I threw a tantrum and she forced me to go to the practice and I never looked back. So I loved it. I think it gave me just a sense of like validation. I loved being a part of like the teams that I was a part of growing up. I think lacrosse is one of the best sports ever. And yeah, I started playing when I was in fourth grade and here I am now.
Well, shout out to your mom for forcing you to go to that practice. I
Shout
guess it all
out.
worked out.
Yeah, God.
Growing up, did you have any favorite lacrosse players or teams that you like to watch?
I was definitely like a lacrosse watcher, like at heart. Everyone is always like, why are you always watching lacrosse? Like, I would have it on, I think, every second of the day. I was watching UNC, Maryland, Boston College, like, the big names. I loved watching Kayla Trainer. I think she was the coolest player ever to watch. Her and like Kenzie Kent, I love how they play like very like hockey style. I think it was really cool. I don't think a lot of people played like them, like in their time. So watching them, I think it really helped me grow my game just because I tried to copy everything they would do.
Now, before college, you got to play for your high school with South Windsor. Talk about your high school lacrosse days, what you took away from it, and like what's your favorite high school lacrosse memory looking back on it now?
High school lacrosse was super, super fun. I unfortunately lost my sophomore season due to COVID, so that was heartbreaking. But coming in as a freshman, I definitely was very scared. And then coming back as an upperclassman, I had to take on that leadership role immediately. And I loved it. I loved being a leader to the girls on my team. I felt like there weren't like a lot of people who were like so obsessed with lacrosse. It was really just like me. So I feel like any questions lacrosse related were more guided towards me. So I loved helping anyone out, the younger girls, the freshmen, the middle schoolers, and so on. My favorite lacrosse memory, I have a few from high school. We won a lot of overtime games, so I love being a part of a good overtime win, especially when you're the one scoring it. I think it's like the best feeling in the world having your team like storm you, jump on you like a pig pile. I think it's the best feeling ever.
Oh yeah, I've only had that feeling one time, and it's fun in the moment, but then like after a few seconds, it's like, oh my gosh, please, I'm getting claustrophobic.
Yeah.
So it's a good moment for like a minute, I would say.
Yeah.
Now, you also played club lacrosse for Lax Plus. How did that experience sort of help prepare you for college lacrosse?
Club lacrosse is definitely not a joke. I think it definitely prepared me a lot conditioning wise. We did a lot of conditioning in my club team. Um, and the coaches I had, they really trained me like really well on just like how to be like respectful towards coaches and like just how to be a respectful player because coaches look for like a lot more than just if you're a good player or not. They look for like if you're a good person. So I think I learned a lot from my coaches. My club coach was also my high school coach, and I owe everything to him. He taught me everything I need to know. Um, and he was just like my biggest mentor. So having him in the summer and in the spring at my high school was awesome, and I owe him the world. He's the best.
Now, you also played field hockey in high school as well. How did that sport help you in lacrosse? Because other lacrosse players that I've talked to that also played field hockey, they said it really helped them with their field positioning and awareness. It's very similar to lacrosse. So I'm curious if you
Yeah.
sort of had a similar experience like that.
Definitely. I would say field hockey is like a lot harder than lacrosse. Maybe I just wasn't as good as I was at lacrosse, but definitely did help me keep in shape. It's kind of like just the same like layout, the same setup. Um, yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was so fun. I think it was good that I played that in high school too, because I kind of had like a fun sport and then I had a sport that like I took a little bit more seriously. So I think it was nice to have like a little break from lacrosse and just like have fun and play field hockey.
So let's now transition and talk about your recruiting process with Iona. What was that experience like for you, and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, so the recruiting process for me was a hard time. It was during COVID and during all of like our showcases for our club ball, COVID hit and I think like a few of my teammates got COVID, so we couldn't even attend the few like president cups that we did have. So my recruiting had to go off of film for my freshman year when I was a junior. So It was definitely very hard. I actually did commit to another school at first. I committed to the University of Hartford. I really wanted to be a homebody, so that school was like 15 minutes away from my house. I was super excited to be part of like a growing program. And then they decided to change from Division 1 to Division 3. So a big part of like why I wanted to play Division 1 was I wanted to be able to get like the biggest scholarship that I could. So them changing to Division 3, I get no money. So my coach pretty much just told me like, hey, I'm sorry, but like you should probably choose a different school. Like this isn't gonna work for you if you want the most money. So after that, I pretty much was like, this is a sign. I can't play lacrosse in college. Um, and I kind of was set on that. And then out of nowhere, Coach Lauren Kahn, my head coach at Iona, she called me like one random night. It was like 8 p.m. one summer night in August, and she just was like, "Hey, like I saw your film, like I want you, like come to campus this week, and I can assure you you'll have a spot pretty much." And that's exactly what happened. I came and I was offered and I accepted it immediately. I love New York. New York City has always been like something I've like dreamed of. I want to live in the city when I'm older. So getting a an offer from a school so close to the city, it was a no-brainer. And my dad grew up in this area. Like he goes to the same spots I go to. So it was kind of very full circle for me to pick this school.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, nothing better than New York City, at least in my opinion. I would say it's one of the best cities in the world.
It
So,
is the best city in the world.
let's get back to some of your lacrosse career questions. So, what was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse as a freshman?
Coming from a town where like lacrosse wasn't so huge, and I feel like I was like known as the lacrosse girl. So coming to a school or coming onto a team where like everyone is the same level as you now or better or whatever, I think that was definitely an adjustment because you kind of get to the first day of practice and you're like, oh, I'm not the big fish anymore, like in the little pond. Like I'm the same as everyone else and you got to work hard for it. Not that I wouldn't work hard in high school, but it's just, like the opponents you are going against are a lot easier. So I think just having everyone push you harder and harder every single day was a huge adjustment for me.
Now you get to play in the MAC conference. What's that conference like from a player's perspective and just the competition that you face each game?
The MAC is very intense. I think every single team in the MAC is a very similar play style. I think it's always like a 50-50 on who's going to win, which I think is awesome. Every game you watch is going to be a good game. It's not like a no-brainer on who's going to win or who's going to lose. There's always some like natural rivalry too between every team, so I think that's awesome.
Now, how have you learned to balance both academics and lacrosse at such a high level?
Yeah, so I try to pride myself in being a very organized person. I'm very like OCD that way. So I do have a planner. I write in it every single day. I have my notes app of to-do list, everything. But I find myself to be a lot more organized too during the season just because I know I have to be. One, you don't want to be on academic probation, and two, you're on like more of a time crunch, so you know you need to get things done in certain times. But um, yeah, I mean, I've been balancing academics and athletics my whole life. So coming to college, I think that was a little bit of adjustment, just a little bit more of a workload, but I wouldn't say it was anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Notes app. I was looking at like my phone, like time of use, whatever the thing is called on your settings. And I think I've been on the Notes app for like 2 hours, like a week or something like that, because I'm just always making checklists and stuff. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Now, between your freshman and sophomore year, your team went from 9 wins to 12 wins. From your perspective, what would you say was the key to your team's improvement in between those two seasons?
I think those past 2 seasons, my freshman year, I think we could see it, like see the finish line. And then my sophomore year, we could like really taste it. So I think like from just seeing it to be able to like feel it a little bit more, I think it made us work like a lot harder. And that's why I'm super excited for this coming year because I think we're definitely a growing team. This team has been growing for I think the past like 4 something years. So um I think we all are just on the same level. Like we just want it so bad. We're so hungry for that ring. And um you're not going to be a successful team if you're not all on the same page. So I think we all just collectively decided to lock in, and we're all like we come every single day to practice to work hard and to win that ring, and I think that helped us a lot.
Yeah, and last season you guys made it to the MAC playoffs, losing to Mount St. Mary's. What was your first playoff experience like, and how have you reflected on that loss heading into this season?
That was probably one of the best games I think I've ever played in my life. Despite the outcome, it was obviously devastating, but we have the best fans in the world, the best family in the world. So just being a part of that environment on campus, having the people on campus support us, the people that we love the most being there to support us, like even when we're losing, it was amazing. And I think us losing just lit a fire under us. So again, I'm super excited for this year.
Yeah, what's been like your favorite lacrosse memory with Iona so far?
I would probably say the Mount St. Mary's game. It sucks that the outcome came to what it was, but the lead up to the game was amazing. It was so beautiful. Our coaches like they knew how hard we worked for that playoff spot, and I think we made it in a very high ranking too for the first time ever in our conference. So it was a really huge deal, and our coach like um secretly like had all of our families and everyone we loved like send in a little video saying like good luck to us, and she showed us it right before the game, and that just made us like all so emotional, and it just made us want it even more. So again, even though we lost, it just was an amazing environment that I wouldn't trade the world for.
Now, what would you say has been the biggest improvement you've made to your game throughout your time with Iona since like your freshman year to now as a junior?
um I think my freshman year and beforehand I would just like I don't even know how to explain it. Now I dodge with a purpose because I'm a big dodger on the field. So I feel like before I just would like, I don't even know what I would do. I would run in circles and I would just speed by everyone and somehow score. But I think now I really have mastered like my technique of like the footwork, where you're supposed to place your feet when you're dodging. Um, so that's something I've definitely worked on, just like dodging with a purpose and understanding the actual techniques to it.
Now, obviously, you were talking about how it was a very emotional game and a good game despite the outcome against Mount St. Mary's. I'm curious if your team sort of talked about your goals and expectations for the upcoming season, and like what do you hope you want? What do you hope to see your team accomplish for next year? And is there any individual goals you might have as well?
Um, Individually, I think definitely just taking that leadership role this year. Last year I was a sophomore. So I didn't have that much say on the team. Not that I was like neglected or anything, but I think this year now people are looking at me a little bit more on the team to like kind of uplift them, and I'm going to be there for them. I'm going to be cheering them on the loudest, whether it's on the sideline or if I'm right next to them on the field. An expectation we are holding for the team is to just keep growing. We've been growing so much the past 2 years, better and better every year. So we're just going to get even better this year. And I think we all have that same expectation.
So let's move on to a segment I like to call the non-lacrosse segment, where I ask you some non-lacrosse and some lacrosse questions as well to hopefully get to know you more off the field. And I'll be answer some of these as well so we can get a fun conversation going. So first one is, if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Oh my God. Um, Maybe like Zendaya. I feel like she's like funny and I feel like we have similar features. I
Okay.
don't know. I feel like she's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good answer.
How
I
about
don't
you?
know who I would pick because I don't know any celebrity that like looks like me. That's kind of the problem. So I would go with like Ryan Gosling just because he seems like a
Okay.
good dude, but I just want people to laugh if they would see a movie
Yeah,
about me.
me
And
too.
obviously, I look nothing like Ryan Gosling, so it'd be just hilarious for the audience to go in and be like, "Why is he playing him in a movie that makes zero sense?" So that's sort of what I would. That's what I would who I would pick.
That would be funny.
Now, if you could play another sport at Iona, which one would you pick?
1,000% volleyball. I think it's one of my biggest regrets that I didn't play volleyball growing up, especially with my mom being a volleyball player growing up. I think she is still mad at me to this day that I chose volleyball over lacrosse. But I love the game. Anytime we play like intramural things or just like pick up with our team or whoever, I get so competitive with it. I love the game. I think it's so fun to watch.
I'm more of a beach volleyball guy than like a regular volleyball, just
Yeah.
because I like being in the nice environment. But did your mom play college volleyball at all, or was she just like in high school?
My mom played like very competitive volleyball in the Philippines, and then
Okay.
she moved to the US when she was 18, so she actually never really got the chance to experience a college
Uh,
life or a student athlete life. So I think she was really trying to live vicariously through me and make me play volleyball in
okay.
college. But no, she just played like she was just very intense in high school and she talks about it every single day. So
Yeah. Is your dad upset that you didn't play softball? Like, is there like a competition between your parents?
yeah. He definitely was upset, but I think he knew he wanted it to be for the boys. I have two brothers, so I think he knew he wanted baseball to be for the boys and me to do more of like a girly sport or whatever. Not that lacrosse is so girly, but I think he let it go that I
All
didn't choose
right.
to play softball, but he would make me play wiffle ball with him all
Okay.
the time growing up. So
What position did he play?
he played like everything, like pitcher, I think was his main one.
Okay, that's cool. I love baseball, and I feel like if I played like obviously I played up until like Little League and that was about it, but I would have loved to be like a pitcher. I feel like it's super cool to see like
Yeah.
whenever you go to an MLB game, like the starting pitcher, like it's like still I don't know why I find it so cool.
Yeah.
But I
I
had the
don't
chance to like sit near a bullpen like before a game, and it's crazy how fa fast these guys throw and how much
know.
like pressure they put on their elbows. It makes you realize why they have to get Tommy John
I
surgery
know.
every other year, it feels like.
I don't get how my dad hasn't gotten the surgeries that the baseball players get because he tells me all the time how fast he used to throw that ball and
Yeah.
I'm just mind blown.
I don't know if Iona has a golf team, but that's what I would pick. Probably golf.
Yeah.
That's
Golf
what I'd
can be
go with.
fun.
Oh yeah. And it's like you get to go to all these cool places. You're
Mhm.
with the boys. I feel like it would be a lot of fun. So that's what I'd go with.
I feel like I'm too like loud for golf. Like I feel like I just would like scream all the time, like in excitement, and I feel like it's not that environment at a golf match.
Well, you just don't have to, you can't do it during someone else's shot.
Yeah,
But
like
if you
I
do it
would do
during your
that.
shot, I think
So
no one would bat an eye about it.
true. I'll think about it.
Now, which team has the best college lacrosse jerseys?
I gotta go with Northwestern. I think it's really cool how they wear shorts, first of all, and I think they're just like always up to date with the swagger that's going on.
Yeah.
I think they have like a square neck and then like I don't know. I think it's just super cool.
Yeah. I would go with John Hopkins. I like the baby blue jersey, but then they
Yeah.
also have the black one with like the blue lettering, and I think that looks sick. So that's what I would go with.
Anything light blue, I feel like always looks good. Like
Yeah,
Nike,
exactly.
anything.
Now, if you could pick one lacrosse player that you've never played with before to be your teammate for a day, who would you pick?
Probably Kayla Trainer, just because I envied her so much growing up. I would love to get yelled at by her if I'm in the wrong spot, or I would just love to like receive a pass for her, or just I don't even know. I think I would be starstruck if I played with Kayla Trainer.
I've never played lacrosse before, so I would probably go with Izzy Skane because I feel like you got to pick the
Yeah.
best lacrosse player to make you better and sort of carry a team if I was in it because I would be so bad. So that's what I would go with.
She would be my second choice, definitely.
Now, what is one thing outside of lacrosse that you are passionate about?
Hmm. This one is a hard one just because I feel like lacrosse has been my life and it's been the only thing I've been passionate about. Um, I don't even know. Like I love being around my family, my friends. I love making people laugh. I think it's the best feeling in the world. I'm very involved in like content creation right now, so I would say being just creative with the things that I can create just on my phone and produce on my own platforms. I think it's really cool and I just love doing it.
Yeah, well, I saw that you have like 75,000 followers on TikTok. That's pretty crazy. I don't know how it's crazy to think about like 75,000 people seems like so much. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even want to consider them real followers. I've had that many followers since I was like a freshman in high school and
Okay.
they've just lingered since. So I don't know how I have that many. So I would love for them to be active because that would be really great. But
All right. All right. So that's pretty cool though. I definitely, obviously, the draw control pod. Like, what advice would you give us to like improve our platform? Since I feel like you're an expert on that.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I think what you do now is great. I think it's awesome that you pick like anyone like to be on this podcast. I think it's awesome. I have no advice for you. I think what you're doing is great.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. It means a lot. So I guess for my passion outside of this podcast is just hockey. I'm a big hockey guy. Used to play and miss it sometimes. And I love watching and talking about it. So that's what I would go with.
Awesome.
Now, what is one item on your bucket list that you hope to accomplish one day?
Travel the world, definitely. I don't think I travel that much. I've traveled to the Philippines once when I was younger, and that was I was there for like a month, so it was definitely a very long trip, but I would love to like travel for like a very long span of time and just go to like a bunch of different places. I would love to go to Europe. I think everyone had a European summer this year, but me, so I was getting a lot of FOMO. But I definitely would love to travel the world and fly first class. I only see TikToks of people flying first class, and I know it's so expensive, but I just want to experience like laying down on the plane with a
Yeah,
mask on.
I would love to travel too. I think for me, sort of like North America, like Canada, West Coast, like we
Yeah,
live so close by it. I feel like it'd be cool to like actually explore it and see what it's about.
yeah, agreed.
Now, last non-lacrosse question for you is Lainey Walterson said that you had the best off the field style on the Iona women's lacrosse team. Who do you think has the best off the field style on the Iona women's lacrosse team? I feel like you should probably say it's Lainey.
Well, I was gonna say Lainey too. I feel like Lainey has awesome like style. She has so many shoes, that girl. I would say probably her or Casey Scarduzio definitely have very good style. I would pick anything from their closet for sure.
Now, getting back to some lacrosse questions now, what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse from your perspective?
I think starting it young, really giving these young girls like the best coaches possible and not just like a dad who wants to volunteer. As much as that's awesome, but they do need to learn young and start them young. And I think it's starting now where like coaches are taking it a little bit more seriously for the younger girls. So I think that can be the first step. And I think another step is just like the broadcast for any collegiate team. I think Division 1 is getting a little bit more like attention, but I think it could get a lot more. Same
Hmm.
with Division 2, Division 3. I think everyone deserves to have the like good quality ESPN footage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember last season there was like a John Hopkins versus I forgot who they were playing. I think it was Stony Brook. And the men's broadcast was like super high quality. They had
Yeah.
broadcasters. And then for the women's one, it was just like basically like a security camera and there was like no broadcasters. And even like today you still see some of those discrepancies. So just doing little things like that, like giving a broadcast team, giving good camera work for any school, I think goes a long way to help grow the sport.
Yeah, I've had, I think, so many goals just be missed from the broadcast team, and I don't know whose fault it is, but
Yeah.
it sucks just because, like, you want to look at it, like, the people watching for you want to look at it, and it's like when you go back to look, it's like, oh, it never happened. So,
Oh yeah, and then you can like make like cool mixes for it and help promote the sport that way. Because
yeah,
mixtapes,
exactly.
I feel like are what a lot of people see when they're first introduced to lacrosse.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of cool ones, definitely.
Now, but before we let you go, Malia, do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your teammates, family members, and friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
Definitely big shout out to my family. Couldn't have done any of this without them. They're my biggest supporters ever. My family and friends have always been by my side, and I love just telling them about everything that goes on in my day outside of lacrosse and on the field. Any shout outs for my team? I think you should have Casey Scarduzio on your podcast next. That girl has been through, I think, 8 knee surgeries, and last year was her first year back since her freshman year. She's a senior now, so she's definitely gone through a lot, and I think she definitely deserves a chance to talk about her story because it's a lot and it's a good one.
Well, Malia, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on our podcast. I really appreciate it. And we appreciate you taking time of your day and doing this. I think you're a great person and a good player as well. And I just want to let you know that. And it was an honor getting the chance to talk lacrosse with you today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was an honor.